That's amazing. Welcome to the Practical Pistol Show. My name's Ben, here to answer shooting questions. Mr. Hairbear, Tim Heron is here.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Coming at you from, I don't know, Bumfuckville. I don't know what part of KC you're from. Probably KCM, knowing how you roll.
KC, Missouri. Yep.
You're not from where Hopkins is, right? Like he's up
I'm 20 minutes south of Hopkins.
He lives in the nice part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
That damn Hopkins. And Nick the Dicky on Toll is also here.
Hey guys.
Hello. All right, gentlemen. I've purchased a new computer, so hopefully we should have better video rips for the YouTube fags. Because people have been dealing with like a 3-second audio delay on YouTube. It's actually kind of funny if you watch it.
Like a cheap Chinese film.
It should be better now. Anyway.
Yeah, I was watching one. I didn't see that. The last one you put out.
Well, that's good. Maybe that's bad. I don't know. Maybe I didn't need the new computer. I think I kind of did, though. All right. Let's get to the questions. That's what people are here for. I've listened to your podcast regularly for the last 3 to 4 months, and it seems like one of the general themes to correct shooting problems is not to slow down, but shoot at 100% speed. However, it seems that my performance is better when shooting matches at 90% speed. Do you think I'm correct in this self-assessment? Is this normal? What do you recommend I do during practice, at local matches, and at major matches with regards to speed versus accuracy in order to improve my overall performance at these major matches? Okay, so just before we get to the actual question at the bottom of this paragraph, I want to start at the top. Yes, I think slowing down does not really solve your problem long term. That's not a solution. Slowing down is just slowing down so you can hit the targets or not make mistakes or whatever. That's probably the right thing to do at matches, as a matter of fact. But as far as getting better or training that way, that's probably not the way to do it. So anyway, Nick, take it away with the answer to the actual question here.
So first of all, I want to say that I think this guy's impression of what's going on is probably entirely normal. My best stages are really ones where I'm going to shoot the best accuracy, and I think that it kind of where you are on the scale here. I think it kind of depends how good a shooter you are. I think typically newer shooters, they kind of have to bias themselves toward learning that you have to pick up the speed in USPSA, especially no matter how accurate you are, you cannot be accurate enough to win if you're seconds off the pace in terms of time. I think the better you get, the farther up the ladder you climb, the more it balances out, and as you get to the very top, maybe it kind of starts to go the other way, and you can't really at that point go. You can't be fast enough to win if you're not hitting what you're shooting at. So I think the common wisdom really applies here. You got to see both speed and accuracy. You want to do both in practice, and I think that especially as you climb the ladder a little bit and you get to be kind of where this guy is and above, you're going to find that your best stages are going to come probably when you're shooting the most days. So if you have to feel like you back down on speed a little bit to do that, I think that's totally normal. So I think he's on the right track. Honestly, I don't have any problem with. I don't think I see any major issues with what he's saying. I think it's normal. Just keep practicing, pushing the bar
up. Okay. Mr. Tim, what do you think?
I think he's on to the typical path that most shooters are find themselves on. They think that it takes, they see a guy that's obviously, a level or a plateau above them that is shooting what they consider to be just absolutely lights out 100% speed. I mean, they're just rocking a stage all the time. And this guy's probably looking at that as like, okay, that's what I got to do all the time. I have to be able to compete or to run myself at 100% efficiency. And in reality, that's not the case. I mean, it's in training and in practice. Yeah, I'm trying to run drills as absolutely as fast and as hard as I possibly can, and that would be my 100%. And your 100% is not going to be 100% consistent, and it's not going to be 100% failure. It's somewhere right on that level to where you're running at top speed to where you're going to have runs where the wheels fall off, and you're going to have runs that are like, yep, that's nailed that. That's my best now. That's what I can run at 100%. When in reality, it's not. So what the guy's talking about when he's shooting it to shoot at 100% speed, but then to back off to 90% speed. I hate to look at it like percentages like that because it's really not. It's backing off to a level to where you can execute everything on command. Whether that's executing a reload at 2 seconds, if that's what you can do on command, then that is your level of competency on game day. If you can execute 1 out of 10 and 1 in a second reload, that's not 100% speed. That's 110, 120%.
It's crazy town.
Yeah. So
that's awesome. It's so good though.
So what I'm thinking is obviously the guy's, I think he's maybe miscommunicating to himself like what he thinks 100% speed is. And 100% to me, and I'm sure 100% to both of you guys too, is what am I capable of on game day of being able to consistently perform a task or a series of tasks on command every single time.
Okay.
And that's the level he needs to be. That's the level he needs to execute or be at every single time he goes and shoots a match.
Okay. Well, what I would do, I like where you're coming from, Tim. The way I think about this is like, how do you do it during local matches and during major matches? Well, I treat those the same. So
exactly.
That's as fast as I can go shooting A's and close C's. Typically, a D hit is out of control. That was a mistake. I'll make exceptions for like really tough moving targets, something like that. But generally, A's and close C's, that's what you want to be shooting. That like shooting right at that pace where I can hit the center of the target and go fast. I'd call that Tim's 100%. Probably this guy's 90%. It doesn't really, that doesn't really matter. That's just semantics.
Right.
That's what I recommend you do. During practice, on the other hand, that's where you can figure things out. That's where it's fine to be experimental. So I think you need to develop the ability to be disciplined and shoot like that A's and close C's on demand under pressure. So you learn that during practice, it's a lot of repetition, and it's working on technical skills, and it's working on your mental skills as well, where it's like you are learning what you can do, and then you keep doing it repeatedly. You build up your self-image of being able to do that because you do it repeatedly. So then you can go to a match and you can do it, and then you can perform it under pressure. That's kind of what you're trying to do during practice. You can do other things during practice as well, and you probably should, where you can do like Tim's talking about, where it's like, I can hit this, 1 second reload 1 time out of 10. Well, the only way you're going to figure that out is by going and trying it during practice. And that's okay. That's actually a good thing. That's where I've heard it said you're going to shoot a lot of misses in practice, learning how to shoot fast. And that's totally fine. That kind of the rule for myself is if I decide to do something like that, I'm going to consciously call it before I do it. So I wouldn't make excuses for fucking up in practice because you're like, well, it's just practice and this is where I'm going to go fast. I wouldn't do that. What I would do is before I shoot one string or one exercise, I'll be like, I'm going to push on this one and see what happens. In that circumstance, it's okay to make mistakes. You can also try slowing down. Like, I'm going to consciously try to slow down and shoot all alphas on this or whatever. And what you'll find out is that usually doesn't help your score a whole lot. You don't shoot as many points as you think you're going to shoot, and you slow down a lot more than you think you're going to. So you can do a lot of experimentation and practice and kind of figure that stuff out. So I guess I would say during practice, pretty much anything goes, but you kind of want to learn about what your match pace is and how to improve it. And then at matches, you shoot your match pace, regardless of what any other jackasses on your squad are doing or trying to tell you to do.
Word.
That's what I think. I don't know. Nick, you got anything to say to that shit?
Yeah, I actually got a couple more things. So first of all, it's interesting you say that, Ben, because I kind of observe a little bit of the opposite a lot of times in my own practice. If I intend to shoot a slow run and shoot a lot of points, a lot of times I am going to get the points, and I actually don't lose as much time as I was expecting. So, I
That's
don't know if
good.
it's
So you figure out how it works for you.
exactly right. So like you said, I think the main point is here you just have to spend a lot of time experimenting and practice, find out what kind of balance is working the best for you in a variety of different types of target arrays as well. One other thing I want to say, I don't know if we mentioned this, if we read enough of this guy's question on the air, but this guy sounds like he's switching between major and minor a lot.
Oh yeah, I cut out the first part of the question because that shit this is relevant. But
so I don't know if it's completely irrelevant, but if he's saying he's performing at one level in this one particular minor match and he's performing at a different level in this particular major match that I happen to know we're close back to back. I don't know if having shot just a little bit of major myself, I don't think if you don't have a lot of prior experience switching back and forth, I don't think that you can be able to do that instantaneously. I can tell you that based on my own experience.
Well, he mentioned his percentage in one match as being 66%.
Yeah. Right.
I'll tell you this: a lot of guys at that level, I mean, they're inconsistent enough that fucking anything can happen when they go to a match, and you can see huge swings in their score. I'm talking like,
that is true.
8 or 10%, and who the hell knows why. So
that is true. This level shooter is often inconsistent, anyways. But I think if you're constantly switching back and forth between major and minor without a lot of experience in each, I think you're probably.
Well, if you're switching back and forth between guns, for most people, that's not going to help.
Right.
Exactly.
But the scoring model difference there is very significant.
The solution, of course, is to pick one in practice, but
so I'd probably do that as well.
Most people don't do that because divisions.
Yep.
All right. Next question. So, what's the course of action when one trains like a madman, being very productive in training, but at matches there's a distinct regression? Ooh, I love that word. I don't know why. Regression, a retardation of his performance and match results. I'm talking about stupid noob mistakes in addition to overall sloppy technique. In turn, that reduces confidence and negatively affects the self-image. Oh, man, I hate his self-image being negatively affected, that's for sure. I've heard you say several times, you treat every match like it were nationals. That is true. I earnestly try to do that, but I'm finding it difficult to give locals that kind of focus and respect. Part of me wants to double down and power through it, hitting training even harder and shooting more matches, looking for redemption and a restoration of confidence. The other option is to quit local matches for a while and get back to basics, so to speak. Dial down the intensity and work systematically through the books again. In your experience, how does one optimally address regression and local match hangovers? Whoa, shit. Tim, how is he going to optimally address regression?
I'll tell you what. A lot of it has to do with the fact that it's probably you are the company you keep when you go to local matches.
Yeah, he needs to be like, go fuck yourself, shooters. Like,
well,
I'm hanging out with the cool kids.
Unfortunately, I mean, you tend to shoot at the level of kind of like the highest level of the guy that's the top dog on the squad that you shoot with.
So you're telling me that everybody's stuck to Hopkins level around you?
Oh, everybody. So, but no, there's a method to what I'm saying here, and that's a lot of it has to do with if the guy's talking about, when I go to a local match, I can't seem to focus on treating that local match like a major match, and it's simply because it's a mindset issue. You're not allowing yourself, for whatever reason, to get in the mindset to treat that local match like it is a major match. So a lot of times you go to a major match, you don't get to squad with just your buddies all the time and being the same guys that you shoot with, say, week in and week out. So you tend to find yourself at a major match having a lot more acute focus because you want to shoot well, and probably because you don't know a lot of the same guys. You don't have that same, ribbon and elbow, buddy, chum kind of, attitude with everybody where it's just like, we're here, we're putting holes in paper, and that's it. For me, a lot of what changed how I kind of look at local performances and local matches is I try not to always shoot with the same group of guys all the time, whether it's I'm shooting a lot of times with kind of the noob squad or I'm shooting with the tactical Timmy squad.
So,
I mean, Every club's
Everybody
got the
shows
same.
up to the match. They all put their car keys in a bowl, and you kind of pick squads.
Yeah, sometimes. But well, for for typical matches, we don't. It's you've got the same 10 guys that squad up all the time. They every local match has got like their super squad. All the guys that are kind of serious or semi-serious about the sport want to shoot with each other. Then you've got all the guys that like they do this for for basic and for their normal training for their job, their law enforcement, or this is for real life kind of stuff. And then you got the guys that
I don't think there's many of those guys.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of those guys.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of guys that overcomplicate the game to try to reinforce some weird training that
That's awesome.
they think they're getting out of it. But
That's
I mean, it's good, honestly, for
And you'd be
local
like, hey,
stuff
dude,
to
I
change
work on
up the
cars
squads
all
that you
day.
shoot with. Huh?
Just be like, hey, dude, I work on cars all day and I'm kicking your ass.
Yeah, exactly. So, but a lot of it needs to be I think that's what this guy needs to do is, and I'm not saying like forego friendships that you made, but maybe it's a good idea to step away from just doing the exact same thing every single match with the same group of guys. And I mean, they'll understand if you're trying to get better. Maybe
No, they'll be like, that guy's a dick. He's a pretentious dickhead.
But it's all in all, it's a mindset thing. So,
Okay. Nick, what do you think about this? You'd say switch to limited for a while?
Nah, not unless you want to. No, I don't. I totally agree. It's a mindset thing. I'll tell you that what I do is I do try to squad with almost the same people at every local match, and the reason is that those are the guys at our local club that are the most serious about shooting. They're the most likely to be able to give me run for my money locally. And I just want to be around the most serious and highest performing people that I can, really, regardless of venue. So, yeah, I think it's great to shoot with other people, but at the same time, I don't have anything against newbies. I love them and everything, but if I get the opportunity to shoot with the best shooters at the club, I'll always take that opportunity. But it sounds to me more like this guy. I'm not sure if we totally interpreted his question correctly. It sounds to me like he's talking about more of having an issue with just getting up for big matches and performing at big matches. And, I just think it is almost kind of a repetition issue. If he's, shooting too many locals to where it's impacting his practice time, I would say cut back on the locals. Otherwise you just got to go into the locals, with the same kind of attitude of, this match matters, this stage matters. I am what I do on this stage right now, just like it is at any other major match. Or any match at all, any major for sure. So, it sounds like he needs to find a way to increase his pressure level at locals. And, to me, that comes the best from getting on the squad with the M-class open guys that, are going to be able to,
bend them over. Have their way with them.
I want to squad with the people that are going to be the closest to me, plus or minus the combined results. So those are the guys I try to get with, and that helps me, stay focused and a little more serious probably than I would be otherwise. So I think it sounds like he's got some kind of mental hurdle he needs to get over, and I think that as long as your practice schedule is not being impacted, I wouldn't, like I said, I would not cut back on practice time necessarily if I thought that the locals were impacting my ability to practice. But at the same, I would, outside of that, I would just try to get as much experience as possible and try to group with the best shooters possible, and just try to reinforce the idea that every stage matters every time.
All right. Well, this question's coming late in the year, so you guys know where I'm going to say on this. It's time for an off season, and people do them in every sport. And if I don't give a shit about something, it could be a match, it could be a video game that I'm playing, it could be a TV show I'm watching. When I don't give a shit about it anymore, I just stop what I'm doing, because it's not any fun to try and force yourself to it. You can't force yourself to care about a local match. I mean, I'm reading this as the guy doesn't give a shit about doing well at his club matches, even though he knows he should be shooting it like it's nationals, but he goes and he just doesn't care. and that's okay. Your your options are don't go. Find a way to make yourself care, which I don't know how you're going to do that. You could. I like Nick's suggestion of going after winning overall, something like that. This guy's shooting production, I know. Go after beating like better open shooters with your production gun. That's a good goal. Or you could be okay with fucking up, or change up your squatting. These are options, but the simplest answer is just, hey man, if you don't care, you don't have to go to all of them. Like that's that's not fun if you're making it a chore for yourself, for one thing, and for two, if you're just going to the match like kind of dreading doing poorly, or like, oh, I want to do better but I just don't care that much. Maybe double down on the practice and just take a match off or two matches off. Take some time away, and when you feel like you've really made some strides and you've really improved, then go to the next match. You don't have to do it all the time, and that's totally okay. If you're not having fun, you're not making steps forward, and fuck it, don't go. Don't go
I'd be
for a
interested to know also why, if he has some kind of idea about why he thinks that he's having trouble giving these locals, I guess the respect they deserve. I think that the motivation for why may figure into what the right answer is.
Well, I know this guy, so I would assume he's winning a lot of the club matches.
Okay, so if
I'm
that's
not
already
assuming
happening,
that. I know that he's winning his club matches a lot.
all right. Well, then, if that's the case, then for me the answer
Like
would
winning
be,
the overall?
I don't know about that. There's a lot of good open shooters where he lives, so maybe not. Probably not, actually, but he's definitely winning production a lot.
So he's probably just not being challenged within his own realm. Yeah. So it's time
and maybe it didn't occur to him to go after the open shooters.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
The open shooters at a local. You got to have something to go after.
Hunt them
right?
down and assassinate them. Get
Yes.
those damn open shooters.
Damn right.
That's great.
The match is only fun if you have somebody to chase, right?
Yeah,
That gives
and you're in
you
a
character
no-lose
play.
situation. Because if you beat them, it's like, what the fuck? You beat them shooting a production gun. And if you don't beat them, it's like, well, they're shooting an open gun, so what do you expect? You can't lose. It's great. That's awesome, man. Yeah, go after those damn open shooters.
I think a lot of it for this guy's probably just a focus thing. He's maybe just lacking a goal to drive towards, to what he was before. It's one thing to be like, okay, I've got an A-class guy to beat, and then okay, now I've got a master or grandmaster guy to beat. In that division, and now it's like, okay, well, I'm at the top of the heap in the division. Well, now what? And that's probably where a little bit of the lack of focus comes from. It's like, fuck that. I want to be the top of the heap of the whole match. That's what I push for now on locals.
Yeah, I would. I mean, if I were this guy, I would look at like, hey, it's late November as we record this. It's time to maybe take a little bit of time and work on training and not worrying about competing in matches. That would be me. Yep. But okay, Tim, I've got an ambush for you.
Okay.
This question is for the short one. I've been shooting USPSA for a couple years now, and I'm a borderline B-class shooter. God, I wonder which side of the border he's there, which borderline he's on. Shit. That covers a lot of ground there, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
I know I need to work on everything to move up, but one thing I know, I consistently have issues with gripping the gun hard enough. The reason this question is for Tim is that I've raced cars and motorcycles for something like 25 years. Oh, Tim, this guy has something else in common with you.
What's that?
He's really old. As Tim knows, the last thing you want to do racing cars or motorcycles is to have a death grip on the wheel or bars. So, how did you reprogram your brain after years of racing to grip the gun hard enough? Was it just through dry fire? Thanks.
Yeah, a lot of dry fire, and then reconfirming exactly what I'm doing in dry fire with live fire. So, it didn't take me. I mean, it wasn't like that was like, oh man, I'm used to gripping everything. I don't know. Like in racing, everything is about finesse the steering wheel so that you can maneuver your hands around the wheel and get, steer the car, those kind of things. But I don't know. With shooting, it was just it really wasn't a huge like epiphany. It was like, wow, okay, you grip the gun harder, and lo and behold, you have more control over it. So, But yeah, I mean, in dry fire, it's huge to really almost to the point of overemphasizing your grip more than anything else. So, I mean, to the point where like I dry fire until my hands are just fatigued to the point that they don't even want to feel like gripping anything. Forearms start to get sore and hurt, and then I know like, okay, yeah, I've been gripping the hell out of the gun like I should.
Yeah, Mr. Nick, you have anything to add to that?
No, I can't really add anything from the racing angle, obviously.
That's how you did it.
Yeah, I would just, compartmentalize those two things in my head. I wouldn't, assume that there's any correlation between them whatsoever.
Really? There's no correlation between racing cars and shooting guns?
There's a ton of correlation.
Shut up.
Really?
No, I guess there is.
Obviously not in the grip strength.
Well, I mean, but the thing for me is I look at this and it's like this guy's question is not the racing angle's different, but the question, how do I learn to grip the gun harder? I mean, that's not an abnormal thing.
Right.
Like, pretty much everybody can work on that. And the cycle I find works the best is somebody in a controlled live fire environment. You take the target out of the equation. You get them to shoot into the backstop, gripping the shit out of the gun. And they see how the sights behave. And they grip it really, really, really hard. And they see they like the behavior of the sights better. They're not jumping up as much. And then it's like, okay, feel how you're holding the gun. And now you need to go train yourself to do that without having to think about it. And it's not a natural thing. It's not natural for anybody. So, I mean, whether you race forever or not, like it's an unnatural thing to grip the gun hard while you're shooting it. Mm-hmm. I think. Well, guys, another bang up podcast, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on, Nick.
My pleasure.
Really? Well, that's good. What do you think, Tim?
I love being on all the time.
You do.
Yeah.
You feel like you're getting a little bit spicy on the internet now. You're getting a little sharper with people. I like that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you like that. The one dude who's like, Cody posted that he liked the Pocket Pro 2 better than the 1. I was like, fuck you. Like, that's the only answer.
I just sigh. Yeah, no.
All right. For listeners, by the time you hear this, the Black Friday and Cyber Monday special is going to be over. But we put all the timers on sale, and Tim Myers was giving me a lot of shit that the Pocket Pro 2 is outselling the 1.
That's because the Pocket Pro 2 is fucking badass. It's badass. Pocket Pro 1 is for old people and millennials.
What's badass about the Pocket Pro 2?
I like the Pocket Pro 2 because I like being able to see the splits in a list. I like that.
Okay.
I like the backlit display.
Okay.
And I think it's just as easy to use as the Pocket Pro 1.
That's where you're high as shit, because you got to change par times.
I'd second all that.
The two functions that matter most are the instant to random change, because if it's running yourself versus running someone else, you've got a little switch to flip. So that's an external feature on the Pocket Pro 1. And changing par times takes about 5 seconds. I'm not exaggerating. You hold down one button for 2 seconds, and then there's 3 other buttons that manipulate the decimal points, or the decimal places on the par time. In total, it takes 5 seconds. So I want it to be 3.5 seconds. It'll take me 5 seconds to set it.
Oh my god! But the Pro 2, but the Pro 2, it takes like 8 seconds.
No, it takes way fucking longer than that, because it's like 1/10 of a second at a time or some shit. It's like crazy. And you've got to go through the menu and find it.
You don't have to go through 1/10 of a second. You long push it. Just hold the button longer.
I get you. But then you still have to go through the menu to find the par setting thing.
If you've just been at the par setting, when you hit menu again and you hit the up arrow, it goes right to the par. Right to the par.
So it's way
every
longer.
Time.
It's like 20 seconds to change it.
It's one extra.
It's like 20. It's like, be honest. It's like 20 seconds, right?
No.
Come on,
don't take me 20 seconds. I'll tell you what.
The Pocket Pro 1 could be improved by an external volume setting, just a little dial. That would improve the Pocket Pro 1. The backlit display is for fags. I don't give a shit about that. What? What do you care? It's backlit. What do you shoot in the dark, you retard?
I shoot in indoor range a lot in the wintertime.
You can't see it?
No, hell no.
You're such a tool. I can see mine just fine.
The next innovation in timers needs to be one that can withstand a little bit of shock, because I go through one of those stupid fucking things every year to 2 years.
Which one?
Because I
A
dropped
2
them
or
as
1
they
or?
die.
They're both.
I like the 2 better as well, so I've been through about 3 of those. Dropped them.
I like the 1, man, because I feel the need for speed, so that's the one I buy.
I used to use that CED 7000 a lot.
That one's fucked up. That one's stupid.
Dude, yeah, I
got
finally
one
got
of
to
those
the
too.
point. I went through about 3 or 4 of those, and I finally traded a guy one that just had to have one for his Pocket Pro 2, and I love the Pro 2. I can't believe I didn't use it 5 years ago.
Well, they need to run off 9-volt batteries. Like if your timer doesn't run off like changeable batteries,
Yes.
like fuck it, because you always forget.
And the 9-volt battery on
dumb
either the
charger.
Pocket Pro 1 or 2 lasts it seems like it lasts for freaking ever. It's awesome.
Yes, that is the way to go. I think the new CED is going to run off a battery, isn't it?
I'm not real sure.
Because that ShotMax thing is done. That's kaput.
That's
no mas. What's that?
I didn't like it. The ShotMax deal, the watch.
I literally never used it.
Yeah.
I wasn't interested. But anyway, Pocket Pro 1, that's the one.
Buy the 2, folks. Buy the 2.
Really?
I like the 2.
I mean, they both are functional. I like the one
Pocket
better.
Pro 1 just looks like something it was, well, obviously it was designed in
It was designed first.
or some shit.
Well, the Pocket Pro 2 is not exactly cutting edge.
Well,
And
that's
it's-
true,
And
but
it's
it does look
absolutely
leaps and
insane
bounds
to me
better than the
that
one.
it's even a discussion between which one to get.
They all have serious drawbacks. We need Mark 7 to come out with a fucking timer.
Yeah.
Time for a new timer. Time for someone to come out with a new baller timer.
I mean, how hard can it be to design like the board for this thing and get it? You get like 10,000 of them made, and get a container of them over here and sell them for like $50 a piece.
Stoeger Pro Shop, baby. I see something in the future.
Yeah, I don't really feel
make
like
it.
I don't really feel like fronting the 30 grand or whatever to make that happen, but or 40. I don't know, but
Probably more than that.
I don't know. Would it be more than that, Nick? These are things that are being made in China, dirt cheap. Like no one over 10 building my timers. I want these things cheap. What? If you're too young to work in the other factories, you come work at my factory. You make the timers. Be careful with the soldering irons, kids.
That's where you can find some developers who work for cheap.
I don't know. I have no idea how much it'd be, but I imagine it'd be a lot of money. It'd probably be like 150 grand, wouldn't it, Nick? Now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, if we get 10,000 timers, you get them designed for if you get like 10 grand in the design, and then you got to order 10,000 of them. So, what do you think? $5 a piece before you ship them?
I don't even know. You need
They can't be that much.
You need a couple developers. You need to outsource your board production. You need to come up with a case design.
God damn it. What case design? You put it in a fucking blue box. That's all these guys do. What are you talking about? Design? No. No, sir.
I think you're underestimating the amount of effort that goes into the case design.
I think you're overestimating the amount of effort that went into the case design. Anyway, that's it. We're done. We're done for today, guys.